Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
Say my name, just make sure that it's 3 times. Out the model I climb if you need a haunt. Say my name, you recently deceased. Property value increase, the living need a taunt. Say my name, they're trying to gentrify. You need to terrify before your house they claim. Say my name, you remain unseen. Get help from a goth teen, better say my name.
That's my favorite one you've done.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. Once again, I am Chuck Starzensky, and almost as always, joined by Javier Martinez.
I'm happy to be here, and I'll keep coming back as long as I don't mess it up for myself.
I promise to do a good job. They always wonderful, and I don't know, she keeps coming back some reason. Taylor Diffenderfer.
I don't know what. Hi. Hey.
And for the first time, his inaugural debut, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, and theys and thems, the blood feud has finally ended. We have the one, the only Campbell with us today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And as you know, there's a little bit of chill in the air now. Not sure when this is coming out, but you know, it'll be mid to late September. So it's time for spooky season. And, you know, much like this movie kind of barely dips a toe, we dip in our toe into spooky season. So we watched Beetlejuice.
From the director of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Adam and Barbara are
ghosts. What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away?
Their house is being haunted by the living.
Maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
And they can't scare them into leaving.
They're dead. It's a little late to be neurotic.
So they're calling on Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Who's no ordinary ghost.
Yeah, you don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house? I want to get somebody out of your house.
But the fun has just begun.
It's showtime. Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party. Not bad.
This is amazing.
Want a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah, here I come, baby.
He's guaranteed to put some life
Attention, Kingword shoppers.
in your afterlife. Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
As the inaugural guest, would you like to describe your nostalgic attachment to this film, Campbell?
Yeah, so I can definitely say there's 2 different periods where this movie came into my life. Obviously, I saw it as like a young child, and then as like a 13 or 14-year-old kind of dipping my toe into goth punk kid. The movie came back into relevance. I think I probably enjoyed it more as a teenager because I just don't remember anything about movies from when I was a child. So yeah, that's probably the main like way that movie came into my life.
Playing with the levels again. Okay, there we go. I just like blew myself out. So I was just like, oh shit. Yeah, for those not here, for those listening at home, Chucky's running the pod by himself. So it's like it's kind of like when you let like a 7-year-old babysit a 3-year-old. It's like, oh, I don't know, maybe we should eat that. It looks like it's plastic, but anyways, moving on. Yeah, Taylor, what's your nostalgic attachment to this film?
I You know, I don't remember the first time I watched this. I feel like that's every time you ask me, I'm like, I don't know. It's just been around. But when, I watched this as a kid, my brother watched it. My older sister loves this movie. I think this movie and Pee-wee's Big Adventure are like the two Tim Burton movies that like really sunk in at a very early age and like made a big impression on me, just in terms of like what I like aesthetically and stuff like that.
And Javi, how about you?
I'll be honest, I don't have a ton of nostalgic attachment to this. I mean, I saw it, way after it came out, obviously. But yeah, I saw it when I was young, and I remember having fond memories of it, and I've seen it every now and then, but no super strong attachment to it. What about you?
Yeah, I was probably 6 or 7 the first time that I saw it, and it definitely was like completely gripped me as a youth and was a pinnacle piece in the puzzle of my ooky spooky stupid bullshit interests. Definitely was like, I think I'm going to be a 13-year-old Hot Topic girl for the rest of my life. I remember loving it as a kid. Like I had the toys. There was also like a really short-lived animated series that came from it. I remember watching the shit out of it. Like I think it got syndicated, and like we grew up without cable, so it was on just like Channel 7 or something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, this is like one of the few animated programs. I'm gonna watch this.
Was it Cartoon Network or was it on?
I think it was originally on like Fox or something.
That sounds
like
right.
Or
that sounds right.
ABC Family, or I don't know what, or maybe even Nickelodeon. I don't know.
Has anyone seen that recently? Because
No.
I remember watching it, but I have like I know that I can remember the visuals, but like I
highly doubt it holds up. It's one of those things where I'm thinking it's like it's like one of those things that should work. Yeah, exactly. How it's like, let's take this thing about like a roving, like foaming at the mouth pervert.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly.
No, it's for kids.
Exactly.
You know how he's constantly trying to like assault people? Like, what if he solved children's problems? Oh, man. Campbell, what are some of your most nostalgic or favorite scenes?
Yeah, okay. So one thing I wanted to bring up is growing up in the Midwest, there was this kind of phenomenon. I mean, it's my childhood. It's all hazy, but the covered bridges, that was something that was just like in my environment and around everywhere. Like when I think of this movie, that's like one of the first things I think of is this kind of just thing that I would see when I was like riding in the car as a kid, going through these covered bridges. Apparently they are frightening to people because of this movie, but
yeah, they're not stable, clearly. I would never drive through one, ever.
But yeah, that's like one of the first things. Obviously, other kind of nostalgic moments for me are like any scene where they shrink down and go into the like model village. Like the some of those are my like favorite parts of the movie. And just the waiting room scenes, that it's all goofy and like scary at the same time. It's just kind of scratches a very particular itch.
Yeah, that's definitely where they were like, okay, this is where like 80% of the production value budget is going to go. It's like, we have to really sell the underworld. No, I fucking love it. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah,
the
movie. No, this was really fun to revisit, and I hadn't seen it in so long, and everything just like jumped out at me. But yeah, the waiting room scene, like you said, I mean, there's just so much there visually, the Shrunken Headman specifically. Like probably the most iconic scene I feel like that everyone thinks of is the dinner scene when they do the dance, and it's watching that again, like just watching the actors reacting to themselves is the best part of that. It's so freaking fun.
Like slowly learning that it's not a bit. Like it's like Lydia's just being a little asshole right now, and then it's like, no, she's not. God,
they all get possessed in the most fun way, and I did totally forget about the shrimp hands coming out and grabbing their faces, oh gosh,
that is like burned into my brain as a kid. Of like, that's like when I had I not like rewatched it like as like teen and like 20s and whatnot. I don't know, this movie's always been around for me, but yeah, just like when I think of that is the thing that like, that is the one thing that truly scared me as a kid. Was the shrimp hand?
It's pretty scary.
Still pretty scary, yeah.
There's a lot of things in this movie that were scary to me, like big and small, such as the covered bridges, which I've never seen, but for some reason terrified me. I was a kid.
See, they're like warm and comforting to me and terrifying to others.
Yeah, I would never drive through one.
You're like, you guys are safe. You guys are heading home. It's going to be great.
No.
How How about you, Javi?
I think one of the things that I remember the most about it, which I was very glad to see upon rewatching it, that it still like, you know, holds up. The Beetlejuice as a snake.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just
yeah.
all the, you know, Tim Burton stop motion kind of stuff. But in particular, the snake, for some reason, it just really like, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks really creepy, and it's just like, you know, it's obviously, you know, they did a good job, you know, making it resemble Michael Keaton, and it just, yeah, it's super cool. And I'm glad this still holds up. It doesn't look
No, and that's
hokey or anything. It works. Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to die on this fucking soapbox, but that's that thing of like, just like, do practical
Yeah.
effects and like things that are actual works of art, like stop motion and taking your time and doing
Right.
something will always stand the test of time because
Yes.
like that's not going to not look awesome ever.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just like CGI, it's like, it's like anything with computer generated images, you're just going to constantly outdo yourself. It's like, it doesn't matter what decade it is. It's like, it doesn't matter if this is the pinnacle and it looks amazing now. It's going to look like absolute dog shit in 10 years.
Yep.
But for myself, I have, no one touched on it. The ending is just like, that's another thing aside from like the shrimp hand, just like on the street, just like, hey, what do you remember about Beetlejuice? It'd just be like, oh yeah, jump in the line.
Yeah.
Like it would just be like, it would be Calypso, I guess, like as the theme throughout the movie. Like it just, every Calypso scene is my favorite scene. But yeah, specifically just, her floating and singing with the football players and all that.
Yep.
And then also the first time that Adam and Barbara actually meet Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Like when they shrink down and go into the model and hang out with him for the first time, and he's just like really trying to sell him. It's like, oh, come on, no, look, we even shop at the same place. And, you know, like all that just really like...
Oh, man.
His whole speech, too, about, like, his qualifications. Like, well, I attended Juilliard.
Right, yeah.
That was great.
I've seen The Exorcist 178 times.
Yeah.
I think it's funnier every time.
Like, I lived through the Black Death.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty good reason to hire me. Also, fucking Ghost.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Michael Keaton's performance is just so fun and just unhinged and so
He
fun.
fucking went in.
Yeah, really.
Like, there was no holding back whatsoever. Like, he was just like, nope, this is it. This is the movie.
Yep.
I also have to say, I did not know that was Michael Keaton until yesterday.
What?
Well, no, I had
Holy
no
shit.
idea.
Dude,
Because, like, I just don't recognize him.
That's great, though. That's great. Yeah. Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Dude, I don't blame you, though, because it's like literally, I don't know, it's one of the most transformative performances I think I've ever seen as far as just like character actors go, where it's like, what? It's like some Daniel Day-Lewis shit. Like, as far as like, I don't know.
It's not Michael Keaton anymore. It's just Beetlejuice.
It's just Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Because like every other Michael Keaton movie I can think of, like Multiplicity, all of that, like, you know, honestly, I think he's underrated. I think he's
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
he's
him and
phenomenal, but
everything.
it's just like, he never hits that mark again. He never just goes with that unhinged.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it doesn't become another, well, there's Michael Keaton doing his Michael Keaton thing. It's
Exactly.
like, you know, kind of like
Just like, yeah, dude, we get it. We have Jim Carrey. You don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about some amazing stuff. Anyone got any nitpicks or like little ick moments, anything like that?
I mean, not really. I have mostly all my notes are just things I love about this movie. I do have some icks, sure, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple. So I was actually surprised rewatching this. I don't know how long it's been since I've seen it. I mean, probably not too long, maybe a couple of years, maybe less. I don't know. This time watching it, I didn't love it.
Really?
I'll be honest. I didn't love watching Beetlejuice a couple days ago when I watched it. I was like, It was fine. Like, I don't know. Like that's the feeling I had. I was like, I remember this being like way better. And it's not bad or nothing like that, but I just didn't have as much fun as I like remember having. And I think because I wasn't having so much fun, like I picked up on a couple of things, like mostly just like plot kind of stuff. There's a lot of kind of, I don't know, lore. Is that the right word for it? Lore that's kind of missing, I think, from the movie.
Yeah,
like I kind of feel like certain things are, I mean, you know, I didn't need to have an explanation for everything, but you know, like for example, like the whole marriage ceremony. I don't know why I never picked up on that, but I was like, what? Did I miss that? Is that like in line? Like, why does he have to get married?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not explained.
oh,
Right,
yeah, that's definitely not.
It's not. It's just
explained.
like, you know, which I remember as a kid. I was like, oh yeah, of course he has to get married because otherwise the things that happened, the curse. And then I was like, wait a minute, there's no curse. There's no. What's he doing?
It's like he's trying
just
to get
horny? This is
citizenship
I don't know.
of the living or
Yeah,
something.
I love
Like,
that.
it's
Right.
like, yeah.
He's like in a rush to do it before.
Yeah.
Which I mean, again, maybe there's a bunch of stuff that was cut out. I don't know.
Yeah, this is one of the few times, because usually you and I are like the North and the South on this argument. This is one of the few times I side with you. And I think this movie should have been way longer. Yeah. Like, it needed another half hour. Like, it needed, like, 30 minutes of, like, like...
just 15 minutes.
Yeah, the ending is kind of just like, okay, it's over.
No, like, that was my big nitpick, is, like, Javi hit it, like, right on the head, was just like, as someone who, like, I'll take the blame here. I can't write a fucking ending to save my ass, personally. As someone who has trouble writing endings, like, Lydia being forced to marry Beetlejuice just feels so tacked on. It was just one of those, like, writing room things of, like, how do we end this? And it's like, they gotta get married. I'm like, okay, cool. How do we stop the marriage? Fucking sandworm. Yeah, right. It's like perfect.
Well, the sandworm has to pay off.
I mean, exactly. It's I almost said Schrodinger's sandworm. Chekhov's sandworm. Yeah. But also, if the sandworm, exists outside, does it really exist? I don't know. It could be a Schrodinger's sandworm as well. But
sure.
And then like, well, it eats him, and then then he's just fine.
He's already dead. That's the thing. Is like,
So I don't know.
To quote Jerry Seinfeld, you can't overdie, you can't overdry.
Yeah.
Like, once something's dry, it's dry. Once something's dead, it's dead.
Well, that's where the animated series comes in.
Exactly.
Sure.
I do have... It's not a nitpick. It's a reframe. This struck me when he's doing the kind of mock commercial, and he has the kind of southern accent. Beetlejuice kind of sounds like Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's... I was just thinking that the whole movie.
Oh, God.
I think that's also something to, like, kind of... You didn't love it as much this time around. It deepened for me this time. I definitely remember watching it at some point, like, in my 20s and being, like, not as, like, into Beetlejuice as I was. Like, it kind of wore off a little. And so I kind of approached it, like, not tepid, but I was like, oh, yeah, it's Beetlejuice. I've seen it 100 times. But this time around, I think there were little things like that, more socially, like, touchstone moments that are happening right now in our society where I'm like, oh, dude, Beetlejuice is just, like, he's every fucking white dude that I've ever met, like, at a fucking, like, bar nowadays. Like, he's just like, he's just like, yeah, he's, like, talking to me about, like, the podcast he listens to that's, like, pretty problematic. And he's also like, like, I'm just saying, like, it's just very, like, very in your face. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like anyone who had, like, kind of a dickish personality got cranked to 12. Like, once the pandemic started, like, kind of, calming down a little bit. It's just like, oh, yeah, like, the life is short. I gotta be myself. And it's like, no. You were, like, you were supposed to very specifically never reveal yourself to anyone. And so, yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of Beetlejuices out there.
Sure.
Keaton's gotta be pulling from something. I got two quick little nitpicks. They're very small. Well, one is big. Jeffrey Jones is in it. Is always a nitpick. Like, he's in fucking... Yeah, I know. Don't get me wrong. He's probably my favorite pedophile.
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, as far as, like...
cannot.
I know. I mean that in, like... You
just gotta be yourself, Chuck.
I mean that with the biggest caveat of all time, of course. I do not like Jeffrey Jones. I just wanted to say that to get a reaction. No, but I mean, like, he's just one of those people where it's like, fuck, he really is, like, funny and talented.
Absolutely,
and he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's all I meant by that.
No,
of course
I know you well enough.
I know. I wanted to see the room explode. That's all. And then my other one is much more tame. It's just, Adam and Barbara's death always seemed so avoidable.
So avoidable.
Okay, yeah, I can back you up on this too, because that fall was not very far, and they had the window rolled down.
Yes,
so they could have just opened the door.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I think I knew this. Like, even though it scared me that they, like, fell out of the whatever, but yeah, even as a kid, I was like, wait, they died from that? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Also, like, I feel like if I, like, smacked the wall of a covered bridge like that and started dangling a little bit, I would just fucking fight or flight would take over, and I would freak out, and I would probably actually hurt myself, but I would get out of the car. I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, no, oh God, this is going over. We need to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that's probably just more because since you get that little surprise reveal that, oh, they're dead, right? Where it's been something more like, okay, no, they're clearly dead. You don't have that same kind of like, what? Also, we're all just thinking, oh, they just fall in the water.
They were kind of going for like a PG-ish sort of thing too. So I think it's like also keeping it tame as opposed to like them blowing up or anything like that.
Sure. I low-key love how avoidable the death is and like how silly it is. It's just like, well, we're dead now.
Yeah. Great. I really wanted to.
What a bummer.
Exactly. I was going to reupholster that couch, but I guess I can't because I can't lift the couch anymore. Jesus.
I love how nonchalant everyone is about death in this movie. You know, the dead, the living, they're just like, oh, well.
It happens. I know it kind of makes like the moroseness of Lydia even that much more like teenagery and feeble and stuff because it's like no one cares about death. Why do you, little girl? Like, no one is concerned. Like it's like being goth is very passé in this universe. Rainy day double feature. What movie would you guys watch this with?
I don't know. Nothing really came to mind. Before I got here, I thought of The Addams Family. I think that would be a fun double feature.
Yeah,
that fits.
Kick off spooky season.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe The Labyrinth.
Ooh.
That's a good
I feel
double
like
feature.
it kind of matches the tone a little bit.
Yeah. It's very like, it's fun.
At
It's
least the
very
fantasy.
cheeky and stuff too.
I had The Mask.
Oh, yeah, that also
okay.
fits.
Just, you know, just very kind of similar in some ways, and the zany, you know,
Exactly.
lead
Huge
character.
character.
Yeah. So that's kind of what
Yeah. I just doubled down on my Burton. I went for Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
I was thinking
It's
about
just
one of
like,
those.
it's also just, I don't know, those movies are like kind of in tandem in my brain. Also, they're just like, you know, the shirts are right next to each other in Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this movie's cocktail. This one is a little bit of a cheat. I went for a sequel, not for this movie. So in honor of Beetlejuice, today we're drinking Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, which, actually inspired by a coworker of mine, Daniel Keller, an amazing bartender. So we've got an ounce of pineapple infused Campari. Not to be a cocktail nerd, gonna push up my glasses here, but up until like 1936, they actually used to color Campari with crushed beetles.
Right.
So it literally was Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay, clever.
Nice.
We've also got an ounce of lime-infused white rum, an ounce of a very floral white vermouth. I went with Dolan Blanc. And you stir and serve over ice as you wait for Lydia's hand in marriage. And on that very unsettling note, we're going to take our first ad break. Ad break! And we're back with Act 2, The Evidence Board. Trivia, making of, behind the scenes, casting, what ifs. Beetlejuice came out in 1988, cost $15 million, but raked in $74 million. It was a hit. Yeah, the studios did not believe in it at all either. They were like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, they believed in Burton, because this was like, he had just like done really well with Pee-wee. And they were like, oh, dude, yeah, you're going to make us some money, go for it. And then he's like, I want to do some ooky spooky shit. And they're like, written by Michael McDowell, Larry Wilson, and Warren Scarron, which is kind of fitting.
Yeah.
Scary. Of course, directed by Tim Burton. Michael Keaton ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
Yes, I believe that.
And created the entire look and mannerisms of Beetlejuice himself.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
know
something
that,
that,
but I'm
like-
not surprised at all. Like, watching his performance, I'm like, this must be all fucking outlets. Like, I'm sure he just walked on set and was like, this is my character, okay? Take it or leave it.
And they were like,
I guess
cool,
that's
we don't...
true.
Yeah, it's like, cool, we got like $15 million. And we spent 12 of it on the sets, so fuck. Yeah, go.
I feel like that's also something that I'm just learning, because in my mind, Beetlejuice is this character that has existed for like forever. And I'm just now coming to terms with like, it was invented for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
On the subject of Michael Keaton, he said that a major influence in his character building and whatnot was Bill Moseley's performance of Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
No way.
Yeah, it's like,
I see
great.
it.
Michael Keaton is like a weird horror hound, apparently. And yeah, he was just like, hell yeah, dude, I just saw Texas 2. Like, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
This was the first DVD ever mailed out by Netflix in 1998. So like right when they first started their service, this was the inaugural one that got shipped.
No shit.
Yeah, I got one, which will tie in later to our top 5 list. But Yeah, Michael Keaton's only in 14 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or their total on-screen time, yeah. Even though he's the title character.
Jeffrey Jones and Catherine O'Hara worked together several times during like SCTV days and stuff like that, and so they were very familiar with each other.
You could tell.
They suggested a lot of their bits. So the dinner scene was originally supposed to be, I think, like, it was like some very somber thing, like, and I'm going to get this wrong, but it was something like, it was a very classical music piece that they were originally going to do.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, no, it's going to be Calypso. It's going to be, and that's going to be fucking hilarious. And then, yeah, they just like went out and basically did a take of that. And they were actually singing. Like, I don't think it was Deo at first. It was just something else. And they were like, holy shit, that's incredible. We're okay. Yeah. No, we're going to hit up Harry Belafonte right now, see if we can use his music. Sick. Okay, we're rewriting this scene. Geena Davis was the only person on board when the movie was like first announced. The rest of the cast took massive convincing and begging to be a part of the film. Like at least the principal actors that were actually like being like kind of looked after. Also in a darker alternative ending, Lydia actually dies in a fire and joins Adam and Barbara forever.
Wow.
When Glenn Shaddix, the gentleman who plays Otho, I fucking love Otho.
Love it.
Unfortunately, Glenn passed away in 2010. In honor of Glenn, they played Deo at his funeral, as he had always stated that this was his favorite film he ever worked on in his career.
Amazing.
Also, this is Michael Keaton's favorite film he's ever worked on in his career. Beetlejuice is named after a red giant in the Orion constellation, which I did not know. And my last big one is, ties into the cocktail. Although a sequel is finally on the way next year, we'll see what the strikes.
Finally.
The original idea for a sequel has been in developmental hell since 1990.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And the original was Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Oh, okay.
It was not going to be a Tim Burton movie. It was going to be, they were basically going to fuck Beetlejuice up. Like they were just going to like, ship, like the studio was just gonna be like, oh yeah, like anyone can do this, and they were gonna ship him off to like another director and stuff. Yep. But the synopsis, like log line of it is, the Dietzes buy a vacation home in Hawaii that was unknowingly built on an ancient burial site. Lydia must once again call upon the ghost with the most to save her family.
That is such trash.
It's trash, but also
no. I don't think I want it. I don't think it's trash I want.
But Beetlejuice, like, dressed like Jimmy Buffett, rest in peace, like, just sipping on a coconut, like, hey, babe.
That can be a short film.
Watch me hang 10. Like, yeah. I feel like it also would have been, like, 1990, so I'm sure it would have been super fucking offensive. Like, I'm sure they would have went into some weird, like, very made up, like, oh, this is the Hawaiian god of blah, 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 and, like, all that. Yeah. For alt casting, I've got, I'm going to take a breath on this one.
Oh, there's a lot, yeah.
Dustin Hoffman, Christopher Lloyd, Robin Williams, Tim Curry, a young Jim Carrey, Bill Murray, and Jack Nicholson, as well as Sam Kinison and Dudley Moore were all considered for Beetlejuice.
Okay. Tim Curry excites me.
Yeah.
That would have been great,
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, most of those I think would do fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all,
Yeah, they're all big
they would
dudes.
all be different.
Yeah, it would all be different,
fun.
yeah.
I got one big one.
I was going to say.
You say that the big one?
I was going to say, but you can
oh, no, go ahead. Go for it.
Sammy Davis Jr. was Tim Burton's original choice when he was like, when he's looking at the script pile and he's like, I'm making this fucking movie.
Okay.
He was like, dude, this is a Rat Pack film.
Wow.
No, I got one better than that.
Oh, you got one better?
Yes, I got
one better than Sammy Davis Jr.?
Better in that it's going to get a bigger reaction.
Okay.
No, it is not better at all. And I had to look at something like, there's no way this is like and I'm like, and it was a thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger was strong. Yes, with Tim Burton even being on board with it too. Like, okay, that's actually not bad. But he passed because he was doing whatever else Schwarzenegger did in '88. That's not like Terminator. No,
it's gotta be around Terminator though. Like he's like riding. I think he's too big.
Oh, I didn't write it down. But something not as famous. Something a little less than Total Recall. No. Anyways, I don't know.
Anyways,
but yes, but I was like, whoa.
You got to say my name
3 times.
Also, Also, it would have been it would have been the proper, it would not have been Beetlejuice then. It would have been the way it's spelled in the movie.
Wow.
Sarah Jessica Parker, Molly Ringwald, Jennifer Connelly, Juliette Lewis, Brooke Shield all auditioned, didn't get the part. Came down to Alyssa Milano versus Wynona Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Lydia, obviously. Christy Alley was the first choice for Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She was like riding that Cheers high, and everyone's
for sure.
and it's like, that's gonna put butts in seats.
She was a hot commodity back then.
And then Angelica Houston was originally cast. She actually showed up on set and started doing stuff as Delia.
Whoa.
And then she got sick. And then we got Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, she's great.
There's got to be a moment.
It's funny because
over so I can talk about her.
I was always just thinking that Lydia is a goth icon, but Catherine O'Hara kind of is her own goth icon in this movie.
Can we take a sidebar?
Oh yeah, we can
talk about her fashion?
Yes,
yeah.
It is everything, and I didn't realize until this rewatch that she has inspired me subconsciously my entire life. Everything I love aesthetically. I mean, not so much her sculptures, which I do enjoy.
I do love.
I do love.
Those are my sculptures. No, as in I made them.
Yeah.
Just blank stare.
Yeah.
Oh, she's amazing. But yeah, aesthetically, her look, all of her earrings, her outfits, just her in general has been a big inspiration for me.
No, that was something I noticed on this watch was the weird, kind of almost repurposed things going on. She's got a classic, long fingered, Breakfast at Tiffany's style, glove as a head wrap.
Incredible.
And the fingers are laying on her eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's also got the weird, one random sleeve that's just been reattached. And it's just God.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just, I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's also on this watch too. I got so much more of that too. I don't know. It's just as an older person, I just got so much more loathing and hate and disgust for yuppies that it was just that. Oh god, of course this is what she's doing. Of course that's what Jeffrey Jones is doing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's pretty awful, but I really love her. I love her so much.
I see why she gets typecast as that. Because she just kills it every time.
Oh yeah.
We've got the usual suspects. Actors and crew from previously reviewed films with suspicious connections.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get his out of the way really fast because, fuck him right in the ear. Jeffrey Jones was in Stay Tuned as well as Howard the Duck.
Geena Davis was in The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, who was in Jurassic Park.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got Alec Baldwin was in Motherless Brooklyn with Ed Norton. Ed Norton.
Who's that?
Alec Baldwin, Ed Norton. Ed Norton of Fight Club and Death to Smoochie.
Nice.
He's also in the later Mission Impossible movies, both Rogue Nation and Fallout, with Mr. Tom Cruise of the first Mission Impossible. Geena Davis, speaking of her, also was in A Long Kiss Goodnight with Samuel L. Jackson, also in Jurassic Park. Michael Keaton was with the one and only Dr. Michael Morbius, Jared Leto, in the film Morbius.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
As well as Birdman with Edward Norton, both of which are in Fight Club. Wynona Ryder is in Mr. Deeds with the one and only Adam Sandler of Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison fame. And then my last one, there's so many, I just kind of had to be I'm just going to pick and choose. Catherine O'Hara was in Schitt's Creek, A Mighty Wind, and Best in Show with Eugene Levy of American Pie and Stay Tuned.
I got one more because I have to mention it because it's the best one in my opinion. Michael Keaton in Batman Returns with Danny DeVito as the Penguin from Death to Smoochie.
Hell yeah.
So good.
Well, on that note, it's time for ad break number 2. Ad break! And we're back with Act 3, the award categories. Kick things off with my wife's favorite category of all time. She left the room, ladies and gentlemen.
She's not here.
She knew it was coming.
She knew it was coming. We've got my new band name. A memorable quote or reference that would make a cool, edgy band name, and what genre would said band be?
I didn't do the genres, but y'all can tell me what the genres are
All right.
when I give you the names.
I usually don't. I'm terrible
right.
at that, but I usually just let Chuck fill in the genre for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna let Campbell and Chuck and potentially do the same for me. I have a few.
Let's hear them.
Nice.
I have 3 because one came up at something Campbell said earlier in the podcast.
Hell yeah.
The Bioexorcist.
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely a metal band. Death metal, thrash metal, don't know.
It's
know,
got spooky
okay.
font. It's got like fucking
spooky.
trees wrapping around each other font. Like,
Yeah. And then Death Shrouds.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
And that's from, when they were like in the sheets, and he's like, just think of them as death shrouds. I was like,
Funeral
what?
Doom.
Funeral Doom? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
Yes. I like that. And then you said this earlier, Citizenship of the Living.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great
That
band.
could be any.
That could be
It
any.
could be
That's
like
cool.
like college radio band.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're very like kind of indie blues fusion. It's like TV on the radio.
Yeah. I have in spirit of the podcast, I have way too many, and I narrowed it down to 3. So I have a song, an album, and a band name.
Hell yeah. You know what?
They're not all from one artist. They're all different. But
Campbell Dad's not here. Ice cream for dinner. Let's go.
all right. So okay, like handbook for the recently deceased, album name for like a dark wave like goth band.
Hell yeah.
This one's pretty long, and so it is like a screamo song title from like 2002 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Barbara, honey, we're dead. I don't think we have to very much to worry about anymore.
Yeah,
Just the entire song title.
I heard the cymbals crash as it started.
And then this is a depressive black metal band, Unhappy with Eternity.
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got one for MGK type of artist.
Oh, yeah.
One man show, Prince Valium.
Yes, I had
Yeah.
Prince Valium as well.
Right.
D90s, the D90s, kind of like the B-52s, right? But it's the form they got to fill out the bureaucratic forms. And then I thought Beetlejuice, but spelled Beetlegeist, which is the way that Alec Baldwin says
Yeah.
it.
He's like, I call that Beetlegeist guy.
Beetlegeist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You took one of mine. I'm on probation, so I only had 3. You took one of mine.
Oof.
I'll just say the genre for it.
Sure.
Yeah, Prince
Go for
Valium. That's bedroom pop if you've ever heard it before. Like that's that's some like cuckoo, like just very like layered stuff and a lot of just kind of. It's something you don't listen to. You put on in the background. I've got No Feet, which I was surprised no one took. They're a goth post-punk that's really hard to dance to. So, that's why it's No Feet, because you're just like, oh yeah, you don't dance, you just kind of lightly sway. It's just very droney. I've got Perfect Vacation. They're a surf rock band, which is one of my favorite bits there. It's just like, do you want to do anything, hon? Do you want to go anywhere? No, we're going to stay home. It's going to be a perfect vacation.
Yeah.
And then they fucking die. And then it's like, oh, okay, well.
Permanent vacation.
Exactly. Probably should have went to Hawaii.
Still a chance.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We've got the updated movie title. What would it be called if it came out in 2023?
How I have not thought about this.
You know what?
me
I
neither.
kind of just thought it was in some of the trivia that I read too, but Beetlejuice, but the way it's supposed to be spelled.
Yeah.
'Cause I know that they decided against it because they thought it'd be hard to market and just
Sure.
Beetlejuice looks funnier, which totally makes sense. But I wonder if it was made now maybe as a remake or something, people would be like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I feel like
But-
everyone's too afraid to be dumb nowadays, especially with the internet, that you would just be like, how the fuck do you say that? Okay, yeah, it's Beetlejuice. You didn't know it was Beetlejuice? Yeah, that's how you say that, clearly.
Yeah.
I had one. I had Dietz and the Deceased.
Ooh,
Because
okay.
it's, we talked about it. He's only in it for 14 minutes. It's not really his movie.
Right.
So it's like, it's about the Dietz and, the recently departed.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Moving on to the Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award for cinematography. Scenes with exceptional camera work and scene design.
I really like the scene where people working in the house, but they're doing the steaming the wallpaper or something. You get all that smoke and steam, and then Lydia walking up the stairs through it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. Yeah.
I love the
That
setup
really
of it
excited
too.
me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's so funny too, and it works so well. That's the only
It's
thing
great.
about
You look
that
at the top of the stairs and you see, it's probably one of my favorite shots.
I think two that really stood out to me. The one was in like the waiting room when they're going through that like blue hallway with the checkered floor.
Ooh,
There's like the lost soul. It's all like wonky and
Yeah,
it just
so, like,
looks really good.
the cabinet of Dr. Caligari like
Really
style,
cool.
like Art Deco shit. Yeah.
The
Love
Room
it.
of Lost Souls scared the fuck out of me as a
Oh,
child.
yeah.
That was the scariest thing in the movie, I think, for me. Anyway.
And then another one was just like right like after they remodeled the house. I think it was after the Calypso dancing sing. And Lydia goes up to the attic and then comes back down the stairs and is like, they're not coming down. They don't want you to live here. Just the shot of her standing on the stairs just looked really good.
Yeah, for me, I've got three. One is just like a really simple framing shot of, it's more of a color choice than anything. It's Lydia, in her goth, like, goddess attire, like just staring up at the house. It's the first time she actually sees them through her camera. And you get like, it's like a over the shoulder, like back of the head. You've got like her whole big like veil and whatnot. And then the beautiful white house in the back. And then you get them just kind of perfectly framed, like just at eye level. And then it's the same technique, but it's two different shots. It's a track pan. So it's like the camera is like on a track and they're panning while it's on a track. And it's the ghost first entering Delia's room. It like the way that they twist and spin, it looks like the ghosts are actually floating. Like they're just kind of like, oh, whoa, they're hovering in. It's like, no, it's just that we're moving really fast. And then the other one is when Beetlejuice, as much as I'm like kind of like, why are they getting married? The Beetlejuice and Lydia like revealing their wedding garb. Because it's like, it's just like a tight close on Beetlejuice's face. And he's like, oh my God, like, we're getting hitched. I got to change. And then you just pull back and he's just in his attire perfectly. And then it's like it pulls back and pans perfectly to like the exact same shot of Lydia.
Right.
And pulls back and she's in her wedding dress now. It's like, it's so good. It's like very much like one of those like just wonky magician kind of things of like presto, changeo. And like you tap, boom. And all of a sudden this looks totally different. And it's like, oh yeah. Just because you're looking, directed at their faces. And then all of a sudden, boom, full body shot.
Nice. That's a good one.
We have, is that Channing Tatum in a dog collar? An actor with an unexpected cameo or bit part.
I got one.
I got one too. We might all have the same one.
Oh, that's the same one. Carmen Philby?
No.
Oh, okay. This was also the Usual Suspects as well. So Carmen Philby, who is the flattened messenger guy.
Yes. I fucking love
I mean, he's such a like recognizable character actor, and I thought he was in a lot more. I looked him up because I was like, how much have I seen this guy in? And obviously, was it Old Man Withers from Wayne's World?
Okay.
He's in The Wedding Singer. He's in Halloween 4 as like the Doomsayer priest. He's in Pee-wee's Big Adventure as Hobo Jack.
Nice. Cool.
But he's so recognizable, his voice, his face, and I had to do like a double take and then like look it up to be like, was that really him? And it was, so that was exciting.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome too. That it's like just like, oh, dude, you were so good as the hobo. Like you're gonna be, be in my next movie.
Right. Cool.
That's something we also didn't touch on in the Pee-wee pod. Was just like, I love that scene so much where like they're having a good time riding the rails like Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care, like and all that, and then Pee-wee just hits like a point where he's like, dude, I'm fucking over this.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm getting off.
I'm getting off, and he just like barrel rolls.
So good.
But yeah, back to this movie. For me, I had Robert Goulet as Maxie Dean. So like Robert Goulet, like classic like lounge singer dude who just like I think him mainly from like Saturday Night Live parodies and things like that. But I was just like, is that fucking Robert Goulet? And then like I had to look at it, I was like, yeah, that's totally him.
Oh.
And he's just like very slinky, and he's like,
Yeah.
It's like, why should we invest? And like, it's like, if your ghosts are here, then why can't I see them? And he's just like, just very like, it's like, it's just hanging out on the Vegas Strip, like in a fucking like velvet crushed suit, basically. It's like his character choice. We got, it's a sailboat. What are the themes or bigger messages that the director is trying to convey?
Death is not the end.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
You can have a sense of humor about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's creepy and kind of goofy at the same time.
Yeah. No, it is like, I appreciate things like this that kind of, I don't know about everybody else, but, you got that constant spike in your head that's just like, oh, it's all going to stop one day.
Yeah.
And it's fun to have like the reprieve of it and being like, oh no, it doesn't have to all be,
Morbid.
gross, and depressing.
Sure.
Yeah, mine was very on brand. Mine is the rich will commodify everything, even the afterlife.
Yeah, that's a great one. I like
that is one of those things I love that it's like, it's like they go to the windows like, oh my God, they're going to start peeling out right now. The cars are going to like, they're going to get in a wreck because they're going to be so scared they can't even like leave at the same time. Oh my God. And it's like, no, they want you to come downstairs.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to gentrify this cool town you guys used to live in. We're going to like build an entire like town around the concept of you.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of weird little jokes in there. Like, I can't think of the pest company now, but they're a big one. It's not Raid, but it's like something like that. Like it's like Control D or something like that. It's going to open an insect zoo. And
Right.
Yeah. We've got the Hans Gruber Deathfall Award, awarded to antagonists with satisfying death scenes. Doesn't have to be an antagonist, literal or metaphorical.
Yeah, I didn't really have one. Just because Beetlejuice didn't die. Like that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, you can see him by the sandworm, but then I was like, well, he didn't die. And even like, did he really like lose or like learn a lesson or anything? So you can't even like metaphorically like, it just, I think his head shrunk, but I don't know what the rules of the afterlife are. Can't he just get it back? There's gonna be a sequel, so that's why I really just couldn't give it to him.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say I have like kind of a like 7-way split basically. I just want to give it to everybody that you see in the waiting room. Because it's like, because Beetlejuice does have like an interesting death, like he gets eaten by a sandworm, but it's also like there's the woman who got cut in half that was part of a magic show that like clearly went wrong, and like there's the flattened guy who's the filer, and like
there was a person with a shark for a leg.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The dude who's just been like waiting forever with the chicken bone in his throat.
Right.
How about Otho and the death of fashion?
Yeah, the death of fashion. I know. That was something that like caught me off guard this time around. Was just like that's all. That's how he gets off. It's just literally like, well, you have to wear this really tacky blue suit now.
I mean, it's pretty mortifying.
It's pretty mortifying. But like Robert Goulet and his wife get like thrown through the fucking ceiling.
Right. Next probably snaps.
Yeah, exactly. Like those guys are dead. Otho is like, he can't show his face in Connecticut ever again. We've got controversial hot takes. What would make someone rewatch this movie with a very different point of view?
Not really new point of view, but just kind of my own kind of hot take on it is that, again, after rewatching it, I was like, I don't think it's like iconic status for me anymore.
Fun
like, even if I try to make the argument for like, oh, well, Michael Keaton, it's like, yeah, I mean, but he's not really in it that much, I guess. And
it's a good thing.
I don't know.
I was going to say, that's my hot take, is that although he's kind of undersold as an antagonist, Beetlejuice is such a big energy character.
Yeah.
He's in the movie just enough to not get annoying or overstay his welcome.
Yes.
Like, I kind of would have liked a little bit more of, like, lore and kind of more of, like, oh, this is why this is why they're getting married, or this is why you should never contact him. Like, because the only reason they say not to contact him is, like, oh, he's, like, a fucking little asshole. Like, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of ruins things. Like, they don't get, there's no, like, big ultimatum of, like, oh, no, if you call Beetlejuice, he will not, because that's also the thing, is like you can just make him go away by saying his name 3 times. Like he's not that big of a threat. Like if it was like a thing of like, oh no, like you only like this is like calling Cthulhu. Like we can't stop Beetlejuice once we start Beetlejuice.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very much like a, hey, remember how you did that?
No.
Maybe don't next time. Like that's kind of all you get out of it. Like he's already a spicy meatball. Like we don't need like a ton of him.
Like less is more.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's why he's iconic, is because you're like, oh yeah, he's only in the movie for 14 minutes. Holy shit, he's electrifying and exhausting.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I do think that it's kind of odd the way they immediately after the movie kind of switched him from being this like character that's at the very least a nuisance and kind of just like a pervy, annoying dude, And then immediately, like, animated series, like, okay, now he's just, like, the co-protagonist of everything. So I kind of wonder what they're going to do in a sequel. Like, how are they going to treat him as a character?
Yeah, because, like, he sucks. Like, that's the point. And I think that's something that, like, I took away on this viewing was, like, I kind of got, like, a little disenfranchised last time I watched it. Because I think, like, as a kid and, like, early, like, teen, I kind of thought him as, like, oh, he's the clown. He's funny. He's, like, this big thing. So it's, like, I'm not on Beetlejuice's side, but I'm kind of like, oh, you know, he's just this and that. This time around, I was like, oh yeah, like, he's a fucking asshole. Like, you're not supposed to be. He's the worst. You're not supposed to be on Beetlejuice's team. No. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you know, when you described the original idea for the sequel, I think that's kind of what we're gonna get in the sense of that they don't want to work with Beetlejuice, but they're gonna have to because he's the only one that like knows how to whatever, you know. Because everybody's coming back. Wynona Ryder's coming back. So
really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I just think it's so unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary. Just like this transition into time for another Spider-Man award. Do we need a remake? No. Also, yeah, like, I think this sequel is probably gonna suck. And it's also, I think it's just gonna be like a rehash, basically. Because, what's her name? Jenna Ortega is attached.
Oh, okay.
So it's literally just gonna be like, this is the new Lydia, and like it's not going to be Lydia, but it's going to be like this is so and like she's having very parallel problems to like the first story, and then it's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be cameo bullshit.
So is Wynona Ryder Lydia gonna turn into a yuppie? You know,
No. I think I don't know. I have no hopes for this. I think they're literally just going to Stranger Things her out. Like, I think she's just going to be that character, but, you know, being like, and probably going to have, like, some moments where she connects with Jenna Ortega, like, I remember going through this phase when I was your age, you know. Yeah, I'm not excited.
I'm going to be the minority. I am excited. And I would like a remake at some point in the future.
Why?
Because I want it to be longer. I want more lore. I want it to. I mean, even for that time, it was already kind of pushing the PG. Well, no, I did because actually I had to rewrite this comment because I thought it was PG-13, but
no,
it's not PG.
But they say fuck.
Yeah,
they
say fuck twice in it, and then they got the face ripping. But anyways, so I want nowadays PG-13 pushed to its limit. I want it to be super creepy and just ugh.
Yeah, but I want.
I mean, still funny, still really funny,
just
but
make
like
a different movie.
That's
sorry.
I want a spiritual successor. Like, if you're gonna do a remake, I want like a true remake in the sense of like I don't want Michael Keaton or fucking Wynona Ryder anywhere near it. I want like, all right, we're doing this again with like, but we're doing it with like ground. I want ground up because like.
Well, no, that's what I want. That's what I want. That 20 years from now. I mean, excited for the sequel. But I want that 20 years from now.
Because I think that's the problem with like all these like kind of remake stuff. It's all very like cash grabby nostalgia where it is just like, hey, remember this? Like, you don't remember if it sucked or not. Like, this one sucks. And like, maybe the last one sucked too. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, popcorn's $20.
I get the need to like flesh out, you know, the lore as you've been saying. Like, because obviously that's a nitpick that I fully agree with. But for me, a big problem with remakes and people rehashing things like, oh, well, this was never explained, so like we get a chance to do it. And it's like, you know what? Just don't. Yeah. Just don't. We don't need to explain it because you're going to remake this thing and it's not going to be as good. And, you know, it's almost like we don't need a backstory for Michael Myers.
That's exactly
you know what I mean?
Say.
Like, I don't want it. I want to not know.
Yeah. Look,
I don't
Robert
necessarily
Zombie,
feel that way with this movie. Yeah, I've never seen the Rob Zombie movies for that reason, but one day I will.
We've got the Sonic Death Monkey Top 5, a made-up list with deep emotional or esoteric relevance to the subject of the film. This week's question is, what are your top 5 all-time movies where the titular character isn't the main character?
Can I just say, every time I do this, it's never my top 5 of all time.
It's just what happens.
It's just what happens.
That's okay. That's okay. I am a douchebag.
Nobody has to know. It's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I'm a douchebag, and I come up with 5, and then I'm like, I don't like that movie, and then I take it off, and then I figure out something else.
I was listening to the Pee Wee Herman episodes. I'm like, am I really gonna put Joe Dirt before Lord of the Rings? That's crazy. But, so that's why I had to say that caveat.
Yeah. I don't know though, Joe Dirt.
It's pretty
solid.
Yeah.
See, my problem was I
don't regret it.
think of a lot with names, like other than ones that like obviously came to me. But then I was thinking too much. I think I always do this on the top 5 list. I always think too much about the prompt, and I'm just like, wait, do we include this? Does it count as it? And you and Luke are just like, what, dude? Just read the thing. It's out. Put those ones. Yeah, it's fine. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I figured it out
how you
eventually.
want.
Yeah, I got to it eventually. So.
Yeah.
Campbell and I spent a long time.
I had to go on Letterboxd and just go through movies.
We were just sitting silently on the couch next to each other, going through our Letterboxd, looking at movies to think of.
It worked out. I'm happy with my list.
Is it?
Should I go?
You're happy
All right.
with it, so let's hear it.
All right. So
I love it so much. Why don't you marry
it was a challenging prompt, so I'm gonna allow the honorable mention.
Oh yeah, there's so much like.
Yeah.
So honorable mention is Freddy Got Fingered.
Hell yeah! Oh,
It's just like a trash movie.
I didn't even think of that.
Also kind of good. I don't know.
Also, Blood Feud back on, Campbell. Freddy Got Fingered is art. I really want to do that on the pod. I fucking love.
It's perfect for this.
It is. Yeah.
Nice.
So 5 is Kill Bill. 4 would be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Didn't even think.
3 is Predator. That's a bit of a stretch, but
No, it's totally fine.
I had that on my original list.
Yeah.
I was like, job titles or descriptions count.
Exactly.
That thing
that
that
changes
counts.
everything.
No,
for me.
That's what I did. Yeah, I have
No, the
them,
boat in
yeah. Yep.
Titanic is a character.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 2 is Hook.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
And number 1 is a movie
Really
I
good.
just recently watched, JFK.
Joke intended. You got a killer fucking list.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into that.
Nice.
Jesus
That is a good-
Christ
that's great.
Almighty.
Oh,
Wow.
Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Nice.
Blood Feud off.
I'll go. I got 5. I have Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
4. I got Coco.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's grandma's name.
No, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
the wheels had to, slowly click. I was like, oh, yeah. That's not it. That's not the boy.
Number 3, another Burton one. I have The Corpse Bride.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen The
I
Corpse
love
Bride.
The Corpse Bride so much.
I need to watch that.
So
I
good.
need to watch it too. That came out like when I was like, kind of like how, we're in superhero burnout right now.
Yeah.
I was in Tim Burton burnout. I was
Same.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, how many times is this motherfucker gonna give Johnny Depp $20 million? I can't do this anymore.
No, totally. But it's definitely like, I mean, if you take all of his movies, it's definitely like top 5.
Nice.
It's gotta be at least your number 5.
Really?
I
Hell yeah.
I mean,
I'm down.
to be fair, a lot of the a lot of trash the last couple of years.
There's
but
a chill to the air. I'm gonna watch it.
But it's great. Yeah, watch it. Absolutely. Just in time for spooky season. Number 2, I have The Exorcist.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And number 1, I got Kill Bill.
Nice.
Nice.
Damn. God damn it.
I'm not going to change it, even though
I know. I was like, I'm gonna
titles is the
fucking
thing.
cheat and I'm gonna take some of these.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I won't.
It's because it's the job title one that really got. Anyways, number 1 is There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
2, Candyman.
Mm.
There you
Say the name.
3, Annie Hall.
go.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a movie
Wow.
I grew up on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bad things be damned. It's
It's
a good movie.
It is a good movie. Yeah. 4, Dracula, specifically Coppola's Dracula.
Nice.
Yeah.
And number 5, this is a movie that I watched, I think within the last year, right? We watched it together. It's a movie I love so much and wish I had seen it sooner. It is the 1950 Jimmy Stewart film, Harvey.
Yeah.
Oh. I've never seen
I don't
Harvey.
know that one.
I cannot recommend this movie enough. It is one of the most, it's definitely my favorite Jimmy Stewart performance ever. It is like so tenderhearted and loving and beautiful. And yeah, I please watch the movie Harvey. It is phenomenal.
My number 5, I've got Rocky Horror Picture Show, because Rocky's in it for like, it's like we make a man, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Number 4, I've got Princess Mononoke.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, that's so good.
Because it's like, because she's, she's like a feral little beast in 80% of the movie. Number 3, I've got An Evening with Beverly Loughlin, which is the second movie by Jim Hoskins, who made The Greasy Fucking Strangler. Right. And if you haven't seen The Greasy Strangler, this is more or less a pitch to go see The Greasy Strangler. Okay. Beverly Loughlin is fun. It's weird, but it's not as batshit. But yeah, anyways, it's, basically Craig Robinson is Beverly Loughlin and is in the movie for maybe 5 minutes.
Nice.
My number 2 is A Fish Called Wanda.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay.
Almost made my list.
We talked about that one for a while.
That's so fucking good.
It's so good.
Nice.
Like that's one of those movies that I was like, this movie's amazing, and then like looked it up like later and was like, oh, this won an Oscar. I was like, people think this movie's amazing. Like usually it's like the yin and the yang of like the things that I like and what the Academy likes kind of thing.
You still have to see that movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. And then my number 1. The Big Lebowski. Because
I thought about that.
Yeah. Because it's
the Big Lebowski.
It's the Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Because he's the dude.
He's the dude. Yeah. You got the wrong one.
You're right. Nice. Well done.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Good list, you guys.
Yeah. And then, as I said, we've been eating ice cream for dinner. Dad's not here. No curfew. Woo! Which means I forgot to do some shit. So we're going to give a quick shout out to our Patreon subscriber, Addie Martinez.
Yay.
Love you, Addie. Woo! You're amazing. You're the best. You're the best in the biz. I'd love to have you on the show sometime. Hit us up. And then speaking of that, because again, I don't know how to do this. We've got, hold on. That was a great list. But Beyonce had the greatest list of all time. We've got, is that Kanye? Does anyone here have anything to plug? Anyone got pluggables? Mr. Campbell, do you want to go off about your amazing band Redwood? Do you want to,
Yeah, when do you think this is going to come out?
I'm editing this, so probably. I'll put it out quick. Probably like a week or so.
A week or so? Okay.
You got your Gilman show.
I have a Gilman show exactly 1 week from now.
Shit. Okay.
But I'm playing like the Unnamed Music Festival, which I need to. I made notes in my phone about shows I'm playing, so I know when it is. That's on October 7th at Arlene Francis in.
I really want to go to that.
Santa Rosa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and I'm playing in 2 bands. I'm playing in Vital Waves and Grapefruit Man. And beyond that, I don't know that I have any shows to plug. But thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Campbell's a super spectacular drummer.
He is.
Go see him bang on drums.
Nice.
Watch this man hit things in rhythm and with talent.
Nothing for me today.
You guys clip? Okay. Moving on. All right, now that we're back on there. Now we've got who won the movie?
All the same answer? No.
I don't
think so. I got a different one.
Oh.
Say it, Chad.
All right. I got the fucking makeup team. Vay Neal, Steve Lepore, and Robert Short. Which, it's like the 3 of them did all the makeup and prosthetics in the movie. And it's just like, this movie would not be this movie without, the fucking alligator mouth and the chicken head and
incredible.
All of that stuff. Like the shrunken head, the witch doctor, like all of that wouldn't exist without those 3 people. So,
nice.
I'm gonna say that too.
I actually think I'm terrible at names of characters in books and movies, so I actually have a handy list I wrote down.
Handy dandy notebook.
But I think Delia wins the movie for me.
Hell yeah.
Delia.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, God.
Fucking Catherine O'Hara.
That is who I was gonna say for sure.
I was also like on this rewatch, I was like, didn't catch it until this rewatch. I was like, oh, that's her stepmom, and that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, right.
As a kid, I always thought it was her biological mother, and was just like, no, that doesn't track. Just because I was like, oh, they both have red hair, so But that was just a coincidental thing.
Yeah, and I got Michael Keaton.
Yes.
So.
Goes with the most.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else? Because we can do a
Oh yeah, I have a couple things.
All right, I was gonna say we're fucking making great time. So.
Yeah.
This is not the Fight Club episode. We are doing amazing.
I noticed I never really got how referential this movie was. I don't know if the sandworms are pulled from Dune.
They have to be pulled.
It's
from Dune.
they gotta be.
They gotta be fucking Dune.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when Beetlejuice is eating the fly, and the fly is help me.
Oh yeah.
And I put that together. I almost wanted to say the timeline doesn't work, but when they're moving in and Delia has one of her statues fall off a crane and land on her, it looks exactly like the rib cage in Jurassic Park when it falls on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's but the timeline doesn't work unless it's going the other way.
It might be going the other way.
Yeah.
That sculpture specifically is so memorable and interesting, and it encases her twice.
Yeah, because
at
it
the end,
crawls.
Yeah, it crawls and it wraps her up.
And then I have reverse references. So this movie was big for me as a teenager because I was way into AFI. And there's an album, The Art of Drowning, where the second track is called The Lost Souls, which they have the and then the Lost Souls in the hallway in the waiting room. And then also there's a song towards the end called The Despair Factor, where they go through the chorus or something and then it just stops and they just quote the movie my life is a dark room, one big dark room, and then it just starts going again. And I don't think I knew that rewatching the movie as a teenager, but those moments popped up and it was oh, this is awesome. It's the band I like.
Yeah. I love also, kind of bringing that in too. I love how much of a goth icon Wynona Ryder is, because you just got you've got that with AFI, and then you've got Heathers from First to Last. Their first album is Dear Diary, My Teenage Angst Has a Body Count, and that's literally what she writes after she kills the first girl. She's oh no. Dear Diary, My Teenage Angst Has a Body Count. Which we will do Heathers one day.
I haven't seen it.
So
I need to see it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a movie baby.
That's okay. That's also one that oh man.
Been together for so long.
Heathers has aged like a bottle of Thunderbird. It's not aged very well in the sense of it's great, but it's it's very we definitely made this before Columbine.
I have to give a shout out to the line, attention Kmart shoppers.
Yeah.
Don't know why, it's just so fucking funny.
That's when he comes up and...
As a little carousel.
The carousel.
Yeah.
Also, as a kid, I never got when Geena Davis picks up Beetlejuice and is listen, you little bastard, kind of thing, when he's miniature and he gets the thorns.
Yeah.
I never understood that he's a horny prick.
I never understood that until just now.
I got that this time around because he's just and then he does that and he's you little you little fucker. That might even be one of the F-bombs. And then literally right after she drops him and he's got the thorns coming out of him, that's when he's oh, feeling a little anxious. Where can a man let off some steam?
Yeah,
and there's just a whorehouse out of nowhere.
Incredible, yes.
Also love that when they go back to the in between the waiting room and she's it's the whole bit of oh my God, did you build a whorehouse? Why would you do that? And then she's there and she's the whorehouse was my idea. Yeah. Anyways, why'd you put the juice on the loose? Yeah. Oh man, that's so good.
She was great. What's her name?
I need to look it up really fast. I don't have it written down, but she's amazing. She's actually the person. I should look it up really quick. Maybe I'll stall for time here, but she is the person that Tim Burton literally begged to be in this movie.
Oh, okay.
He was he had seen her in something else.
So I wonder if she was big from...
She's probably big from the past. I don't know who she is, and I don't even have her name written down because I'm a piece of shit. But it's one of those, you are incredible. It would mean the world to me if you were in this fucking movie. And she's nah.
I get it though. She's great.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's got that sultry smoker's voice.
Yeah.
The smoke coming out of her throat.
Yeah, is so good.
Amazing.
Sylvia Sidney.
Sylvia Sidney.
Oof, what a name.
I don't know how consistent it is, but there's like a throwaway line. He just says something about how like in the afterlife, if you take your own life, you become a civil servant.
Yeah. Otho, yeah.
Otho.
Yeah.
And then like all of the, so I don't know like what the story is.
Like
all the people that are like working there, like I know the receptionist shows that like her wrists.
Well, there's like the male guy who's just on a noose.
Yeah.
Just like tossing.
So it's like,
right.
You unalive yourself. You get to be a bureaucrat.
Ugh. I got a quote.
Hell yeah.
I just really enjoyed on this rewatch, which I watched it today. It's also kind of a fun shot, like, because you don't really get a lot of like shots of the house, like outside of the house, especially after that like insane remodel. And Delia Dietz, the Dietz are like sitting, kind of having afternoon tea in their big white wicker chairs.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not sure if this is the right environment for Lydia. Snakes, ghosts, and then Delia's like, shrimp.
Right. So good.
Yeah.
That's actually a quick fun fact that I didn't even like find in research. This is just something from the brain from a long time ago. So I'm probably going to say it wrong, but the Beetlejuice house is an amalgamation of a bunch of classic horror movie houses.
That makes sense.
Oh.
So like it's got like because that's why it's so fucking weird. It's not just that it's a movie that was made in the 80s and like, you know, aesthetics were kind of off the rails, but it was like literally like it's got a Mansford roof, which is like a reference to I think Psycho, and then like there's a bunch of like every piece of the house is essentially a reference to a classic horror film.
Sure, I can see that. Cool.
That's why it's like got towers for no reason. Like it's got so much going on.
Yeah.
Like it's got a spindle, but also, you know. Yeah.
Oh.
That's cool. I like that.
I like how terrible the remodel is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you know that like spray paints like a pebbly surface.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like. They just spray painted it with that like pebbly spray paint.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that scene too. That's something we didn't touch on. It's just when they're first walking through the house and just like spray canning, and she writes mauve on one of the walls, and he's like, "You're reading my mind." And then he writes Meridian, and she's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Think blue green." And then he like, I forget what the exact follow-up line is, but he explains why it's blue green. He's like,
right,
I was a chemist after all.
Like,
Ortho for no reason was a chemist. Like, yeah.
Did you say chemist or hair chemist? I forget.
Something along like he was like
and a paranormal researcher.
Yeah,
and a decorator. Like,
yeah. And in that scene, that's such a great scene.
Yeah.
Them walking through the house together, and when they're going up the stairs to the attic, and with Alec Baldwin's character headless is like, "Oh, I forgot to lock it," and like running past them. That's so good.
Bumbling up. Also, yeah, that's another thing I guess we didn't touch on as far as favorite scenes. Just to quick get it out there. Just the whole like initial set of scares where they're actually doing spooky shit. It's just, you know, they're so engrossed in their own thing. I forget the exact line, but it's like the living will do anything but notice, basically. And so it's like literally pushing past Geena Davis's swinging corpse to be like, oh, gross. Their wedding stuff is still in here, like while she's there bleeding out, and like Barbara, Geena Davis holding Adam's head.
Yeah.
Dad does a jump scare, like a boo, hey guys, and that makes them jump, not like the bleeding corpse.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
Well, we could gush all day if you want, but I think it's time to wrap it up. Yeah. We're on to the epilogue. The verdict here, folks. Good, bad. Is it worth a rewatch? Would you recommend this to someone who hasn't seen it?
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I let it live, personally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Much like I said, to quote Beetlejuice himself, much like The Exorcist, it gets funnier every time.
I really enjoyed it on this rewatch, like more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of prepared for it to be like, taking a little bit of a dive, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Probably been like over a decade for me, so it's like, I had fun. I forgot how fun the movie was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and even though it took a dive for me, I still recommend it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's not bad at all. It's not like, it's just, I mean, but if you haven't seen it, you should see it. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So I guess, would you let it live or would you monitor it?
No, I would let it live.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big Tim Burton guy anyway, so again, just for the art, for the sets and special effects, all that stuff, and everybody did a good job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, if you're still listening, thanks for listening. And once again, we have been the Nostalgia Killers. I have been Chuck Starzinski.
I have been Javier Martinez.
I have been Campbell McIntosh.
And I've been Taylor Diffenderfer.
Bang, bang.